A couple years ago, I went hunting and it was cold. There was snow and rain. And anyways, I didn't have a cab on my four-wheeler. Last time I bought a cab, installed it, Super ATV, doors, used windshield, and I went out again this year, and it was better. It was still cold. I had a problem with snow on the windshield because I don't have wipers, and the inside of the windshield just fogging up so bad we couldn't even move at times. So I decided to get an in-cab heater with defrosters, and I bought a Firestorm in-cab heater, and today we're going to install that. Today I'm going to install a Firestorm cab heater in a Polaris 900 XP, and it looks like they give you everything you need. One problem I saw, I was cutting out these templates, and here we see drill holes with supplied 2 1/4 inch hole saw. But up here you see drill the hole with a 1 1/4 inch hole saw. I hope the rest of the directions are better than this. I unboxed everything inside this Firestorm heater. Here are the instructions, brackets, clamps. I cut out these templates, some Y connectors for the cooling system, vents, ducting, and finally the heater. One thing to be sure to do, remove the plugs. Right now I am disconnecting the battery. So just for ease, I've taken off my door, removed my windshield, I'm taking off the dash. All you have to do is pop these up and your dash removes. Okay, the next part of the step is to put on a template and drill a hole. And it's not very clear, but this is the back side. It's supposed to come out right there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drill a pilot hole on this side just to make sure template lines up, then I'll drill my hole. So on the inside of the Ranger, you're supposed to put your template right in this little corner and drill a hole right there. Like I said, I drilled from the back side just to see if it's going to match up, and it matches up pretty good. So I'll go ahead and make my 1 1/4 inch hole right there. There it is. I made my 1 1/4 inch hole, and I'll clean that up and install the grommet. Okay, next one is this template, and just give you an idea where we're at here. It says to put it right here and drill 1 1/4 inch where that X is. I already marked it with a knife, but keep in mind there's things underneath it, so you don't want to drill into any other cables or wires that are on. And there it is. Drill the hole and place the rubber grommet in. Next step. So this part's been a little difficult to figure out, but it says to put that template in there and drill 1/4 inch holes, and then the heater mounting bracket, which is that, goes underneath, and you line it up 1/4 inch on the right side, mark the center of the slotted holes, and drill 3/8 inch holes in the center of the slotted holes, And somehow these will go under here, line up with that hole in the back, and then hold the bracket up here. So let's do that. Okay, I drilled, according to the template, the 1/4 inch holes there, which was tough because I don't have a 1/4 inch bit that's long enough, and 3/8 inch holes here. And what they wanted you to do is take this bracket and line it up within a 1/4 inch on that side. And what that does is it keeps the bracket or the heater away from this side because your foot is on that gas pedal, so it keeps it away. Okay, I'm through step 21 on the installation instructions. I have drilled those holes. I have put in the bolts into the mounting brackets. I've installed these mounting brackets here. Installed these mounting brackets. They come from the back. They go up here, and they actually align with the holes I drilled. Sorry, for the heater mounting main bracket. Now it says to take the heater mounting bracket, place it over here. Do not insert any screws on this step. Take the non-flange end, there's a flange, non-flange end, insert it into the bracket. Let's see if I can get this in. Okay, now it's in. As shown in figure 6, you can't see anything. So what they mean is to put this piece on here until that is flush with this, and put a screw in this. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, that's on there. There's my screw. Got one more. There we go. That's flush. And to take the screw, plastic screw, and go ahead and okay. Easy enough. Now it says to use the plastic screws to attach the bracket on the top and the bottom. So let's do that. There's 2 on top.
That's my dog. Don't worry about him. So, 3 and 2. And that's what it looks like right there.
Okay, I popped this off. There's only 4 little pins that hold it on. Easy enough. They want you to take this hose, run it through the grommet here, and then run it through the grommet that you made on this and back to the engine. Next on the instructions, it says from the radiator side, which is under the hood, of course, to run in the wires into each grommet. So we have this one going in here, one end of the tube. The other end of the tube goes in to this area. And as it comes in, run it through that grommet. So that both ends of your hose are in this area where the heater is going to be installed. Now it says to replace this. So I'm going to put the pins back in. It says also to leave 2 inches of hose out as in figure 8, and that's my figure 8. Okay, so this is what I have. I said to leave about 2 inches out, and what's going to happen, next thing I'm going to do is put those onto the heater core, and like I said before, don't forget to remove the plug. So one hose here, one hose there. Now they want you to install the hose bracket. I haven't added or connected this hose yet, but what they want is, after this hose is connected, to put on the hose bracket, which comes up this way. And connects this way. There. Then tighten that up. I have turned on, or there's the heater hose bracket is attached, and the ducting to the duct, and that was not easy. It says to clip 3 wires, and I absolutely need to clip at least 3 wires to get that on there, and I have it zip tied, and it also says to secure with electrical tape if you need it. So do that if you need. Don't forget to put your unicoil, this thing, on before you add all these hoses on, along with your hose clamps. You'll need those on the hoses before you connect the hoses. The instructions aren't the most clear at this step, but what they want is take this piece, slide it into a hole up here. We do that. It's a little tough. Anyways, once it's there, take this, put it through there, slide it up and screw it in. And it says do not tighten yet. So that is what I'm going to do right now. I have all these bolts in, both sides. It was a little tough, but got them in there. They're not tight yet, but it says not to tighten. It says now to align this up, and once that's lined up, tighten the cubby bolts. I guess that's the cubby. So that is what I'll do right now. Once the cubby bolts are tight, which they are now, those two, go ahead and tighten the rest of the heater bracket bolts. Nice and snug. So next we want to connect the power. This is the little wiring harness they give you. And what they want is for you to connect the wires here. Run the plug through this. When you do, it's going to come out of there. Just run it right down to your heater and plug it in. If you can't see it, to the plug right there. I'll go ahead and do that right now so you can see what it looks like. According to the diagram, black wire goes to the middle, red wire goes to the right of the big red cable. After everything's wired in, put on your leads on your battery, turn on your key, test the fan. All good. Find out where you want to install your vents. This is the dash, and that's about right where I'm going to put them. I'll kind of show you why. You figure ducting is going to go underneath this, and if it's too far to the right, it looks like you might hit this shifter linkage. On this side, there's nothing underneath that's going to block the ducting, so as long as I have good clearance, that's where the holes are going to go. At this point, I have the ducting coming out and going up. We'll go look at that. I have my holes cut in my dash, and this ducting, you're supposed to, it says cut it to length, put on the Y, put the hoses on, and then route it to your vents. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I have the Y connector connected, and a little bit of hose going that way, and a little bit of hose going that way. And just what I did so it doesn't flop around, I took a zip tie and I secured it to this back firewall here. I ran the hoses out of the dash, clipped on the vents. I'm gonna zip tie and duct tape those so they don't ever come off. And then after that, reattach the dash. So I have the dash installed with the vents. The very last thing to do is to install the coolant lines. And they say to jack up the four-wheeler so you don't get any air pockets, so you don't have to drain the whole cooling system. Get some lights in here. Here's the hose we'll cut into, and we'll start tying into the radiator. I have to install the Y connector, one on the return side of the radiator, and behind here there's another hose. That's the top. This is the loop right now that goes in and out of the heater. We'll cut this and run water through it like it says you need to do. And then first thing we have to do is drain the radiator. So I'm going to take this off, drain it. I think normally you could get some vice grips and just clamp these down, cut the hose. I don't have vice grips, so I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect this, drain it, and then I'll fill it back up. So I'm on my my driver's side of my Polaris. I'm going to deviate slightly. I'm going to go ahead and plug into this over here instead of down there, just for the ease of access. Okay, I have the Y connector installed on the top of the radiator side. Easy to do from this point. So here's the loop that comes out of the heater. I'm going to cut this loop to size right here so the hose can go onto there. I'm going to take the rest of it, swing it on over to that side so it can go to the other Y connector. It's very out of focus right now. You can see the Y connector over there. But before I actually connect it, we need to run water through here with the hose connection, and that is part of the instructions, so we'll go ahead and do that. I have the hose connected to this fitting, and it's a barb fitting. You don't really need to use the clamp. And I'm going to run water through it just to fill up the radiator. It says for 1 minute, high pressure. So if they say high pressure, they really mean high flow. So if you look, there's bubbles coming out. You just want to run it until all the bubbles are out. Keep it high when you turn it off, the end of the hose high, and then trim it up. Plug it into your barb, which is right there. So, still some bubbles. Get all the bubbles out. Here's my hose in. One thing you should really have is have your heat source all the way open so it's not just constricted. I'll show you. If I start to close it in, you're just going to build pressure, so have it all the way open. Let me do that again. See? Have it all the way open. Get all the bubbles out. I tried to set it up so you can get a good angle. Anyways, I'm going to cut that hose and put it right there on that little Y connection. I have all my hoses connected. Nice and snug. No leaks. Now I'm going to top off my radiator from what I drained out of it. So what I have now is I have the engine warmed up. You can see that about 204 degrees. I have my heater on. Very hot air coming out. Not a lot of hot air coming out here. Hardly any actually. So if I close the bottom vents, I get a fair amount of hot air coming out here. Maybe I have one vent open. Yeah, there's still enough coming out up here. So something must have just happened. The fans came on or something. Engine's cooling off again. So far I'm pretty pleased with how it works. Like I said, there's a lot of hot air coming out of that. I was kind of worried about that because of the location of the Y connections, and I was worried about the heater getting enough flow of hot coolant, and it seems to be doing well. Right now I'm at 192 degrees. I have this kind of throttled back on the temperature control, and my fan's only at 1. It's kind of, right now it's kind of mild there. Let me turn this up. I can feel it heating up slightly. Okay, there it goes. It's getting hot now.
As far as the flow of air to these, I mean, it's really not that much. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's definitely enough to clear the windows of condensation. I will probably do another review once I can get this out in the snow. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was pretty fun.